Welcome back, my friends. I'm Johnny B with JohnnyB.com. So are the markets about to move up or down? Does the stock market control the market? In many very important things, it's easy to confuse the idea of correlation with causation. Definitely the market moves up and down along with stock prices in a loosely correlated way. But what's the prime mover in the market? The easiest way to grasp the market is to understand the tidal forces. What is the prime mover? And it's supply versus demand. If there's an increase in demand and there's no matching increase in supply, the prices are going to move up and vice versa. So what sorts of things increase the demand? Well, one of the things that's caused a huge increase here is the massive number of high-paying jobs that have been added in Silicon Valley. This has been going on for years. We have tens of thousands of highly paid, high-skilled, super intelligent workers that have come to this area, but there's no matching inventory increase. So when you have this increase in workers, the thing to look at is not just the population. A lot of novice investors believe in population goes up, prices go up. Population goes down, the prices go down. That's loosely true, but not exact. If you have 1 million penniless immigrants move into the area, they're not going to be capable financially to buy a $2 million property. So they're not going to be a competing force for the demand. What you look at is the number of jobs where people can afford to enter in the housing market. So a huge increase in manufacturing jobs that are $15 an hour is not going to increase home buying. It's the engineering jobs, the highly skilled jobs that are causing this massive increase. And those are clustered around the large employers. They want the fastest, easiest commute. So if the prices in real estate get too high, then are they going to stop living in homes? No, they're going to rent. But when rental prices go up because there's too much competition in rent, they go back to buying. And there is a bias. Intelligent consumers would prefer to own property than buy over the long term. There's a study in 2013 that the Federal Reserve did, and it showed the approximate net worth of somebody that's rented was under $5,000. At the same time, the net worth of somebody who had owned a home was almost $200,000. So there's a massive shift in net worth just from the single choice of choosing to own rather than rent. This concept of supply and demand, it's easy to understand. This is a tidal force, but it's also hyper-local. If you look at the supply and demand constraints here in Silicon Valley and compare it to somewhere else in California, like the Central Valley, you're going to have a completely different supply and demand dynamic, and the appreciation is massively shifted. So our highly intelligent tech workers view rent as just a waste of money because there's no equity buildup, there's no tax incentives, your percentage of consumption of your paycheck tends to grow over time disproportionately to what would happen with a home purchase where you have a fixed rate mortgage. So after 30 years, you end up paying less for housing, but you have a substantial net worth because of the equity buildup and appreciation that's occurred. When young people get their first jobs, it's usually going to be 3 to 5 years before they've got their stocks vested, they've got their savings ready so that they can go into the market and purchase. There is a large number of people who use family funds to purchase earlier, but you see this as a pin-up demand that goes for years. I call this the Google pipeline. So you envision a pipe where young employees enter the pipe. 3 to 5 years later, their stocks and savings are ready so that they've got their down payment. And then they emerge as qualified buyers determined to purchase a home and stop renting. So this process has tens of thousands of people in this pipeline moving forward. So when you see historically for the last 3 years this massive buildup in high-tech workers, you can predict that the tidal forces are moving towards the purchase. Beyond that, you have campuses that are being developed, like the Diridon Station campus, and there's many other campuses that have been launched, like the Apple spaceship and the new NVIDIA location, and Facebook is growing all over the place. So you've got a massive increase of highly paid workers, and this is a easy to see process that's going to go beyond the 3 to 5 years of the hired pipeline. This is soon to be hired pipeline. And then beyond that, they're looking for new places to expand further. So you have what I call a tidal force of employment, which is moving towards home purchase or home renting. And so then it's going to oscillate between those two. So these are the tidal forces. Then you have transient forces. This is where it can ostensibly be complex to figure out, but transient forces are short-term in effect, and then the tidal forces take over again. So you could have an interest rate shock. You could have, an interest rate is more of a midterm of force because the Fed tends to move slowly. But at the same time, the controlling force is this tidal force. Then you have, there's a lot of things that could cause transient forces, like election uncertainties, both midterm and major elections, political instability, wars, earthquakes, stock prices. I've had a lot of clients over the last year or two say that they wanted to diversify their stock holdings. They felt that that asset class was over invested. And so they wanted to reduce the risk by reallocating to a different asset class like real estate. And so many of them have bought one or more homes to offset that risk. So the interest rate, let's talk about that for a moment. There's a recession cycle that is kind of generated by the Federal Reserve. Their mandate is to stabilize prices and manage the inflation rate. But over the long term, you can very easily see the steady decline in the value of the dollar. And so what that means is any cash that you have is evaporating in its purchasing power. Whereas real estate, once you purchase it, the appreciation benefits from that weakness of the dollar. And it benefits even in a leveraged way because the bank's 80% or whatever they put into the purchase, it doesn't benefit from the equity buildup. You're just paying that down lower and lower. And their sole benefit is the interest. I think the concept for homes is very, very important to get. When you rent, you're going to use up about a third of your income. This is typical. And over time, those rents go up and up and up. And so you're constantly using more and more in terms of dollar amounts, but the percentage growth stays somewhat similar. With a home purchase, it is more costly initially, but over time, that purchase causes your payment to be more stable than the rents. Over a period of 10, 20, or 30 years, you're going to see a gradual decline in the percentage of your paycheck that's used towards your housing costs. And at the same time, you're benefiting in multiple dimensions. So I've had very intelligent clients come to me with spreadsheets saying, Johnny, I've looked at this and I make more money in stocks and I make more money in other investments. And who knows, that could be true. But I kind of doubt it because what real estate recommends is a very long-term investment where you're not going in and out of the market, so all the timing mistakes don't occur. It's a monthly expense that you pay every single month. You're investing in yourself by making your house payment, and so your equity is building with every check. Over time, this probably is one of the most consistent investments that you'll ever make because they'll take it back if you don't make the payments. And so you're constantly adding to this. You're building up a net worth over a period of 30 years that results in you having a paid off asset. Or more likely, in 3 to 7 years, when you decide to move up to the next property, you've got a net worth inside of that property, along with whatever stocks that you've vested in other ways that you've grown your assets. You then can make the choice to purchase a more beautiful home, one that you're going to love even more. And that is the real estate game. You buy, you move up, you move up, you move up, you move up. After you've made several purchases and you get your largest home, then most people will downsize and buy a more modest home, and then they'll have a large net worth that they can benefit from in their retirement. So here's some concepts that I believe in. Number one, get in sync with the tidal forces. Don't worry about the transient forces. And the biggest tidal force is the decay in the value of the dollar. My parents bought a home for $14,000. It's worth about $1.4 million. That's because of the long-term decay in the value of the dollar, but it's also because Silicon Valley has been an outstanding investment over time, outpacing the rest of the country because we have the best high-paying jobs here. We've got the world-class employers, the outliers. Predicting transient forces is nearly impossible. Next, the longer you plan on keeping the home, the better chances you are of having a great outcome, whether it's something that you own and live in or something that you rent out. And lastly, real estate is the only asset class that you can actually live in. In our next episode, do you know how to deliver funds to the escrow company in a way that doesn't mess up your escrow? Until next time, I'm Johnny B.
Hi, this is Adam Lewis Walker reporting live from Hollywood, California. With me here is Johnny B from the best-selling book, For the Win. Fresh off stage, Quilly Award in hand, National Academy of Best-Selling Authors in Hollywood. How are you feeling right now?
Super excited. Excited to be on the red carpet with you.
Oh, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about your chapter?
Yeah, basically I wrote about stuff that Dr. Rudy, as we sometimes refer to him, things that I picked up from him in the filming. You know, the guy's amazing. He invented his own method of managing his mind. The concept of goofy thoughts and getting your gold nuggets is fantastic. So I just relayed his wisdom.
Is there anyone you'd like to thank tonight?
My wife for her patience with all my shenanigans.
Love it. I can relate. So what does the future hold for you?
Helping brilliant guys and ladies in Silicon Valley. I'm helping them get their homes and do smart things with real estate.
Well, again, congratulations on becoming a best-selling author.
My pleasure.
Thank you
very much for the interview.
No worries. This is Adam Lewis Walker reporting live from Hollywood, California.